I will start with the introduction. My introduction is in the form of the conceptual framework. We have land parcels. We have land parcels which are being surveyed by land surveyors and using poor survey methods. And these land parcels are stored in form of papers, which papers deteriorate with time, and with time they expand, since you know that paper is subject to changes due to the weather conditions, is expansion and contraction. Then due to frequent use of cadastral maps, they get torn, congested and folded. Then most of these cadastral maps, especially those produced on minor land, do not have grid lines, and some of them exist on different cadastral systems. So these maps were basically taken out from the land offices and then taken for computerization using scanning, georeferencing, digitizing, and then vectorization. And that gave us the first digital cadastral database, which is DCB1. And this cadastral database has got some positional errors. So when I go back to the land parcels, these land parcels at the same time surveyed using good methods like RTKs, which are of higher accuracy and free from errors. So this other side, we have got DCDB2, which is coming from the RTKs. But then, after producing the coordinates from RTK, these coordinates are all overlaid, and that is why we're having a comparison of DCDB2 against DCDB1, which is giving us the geometrical distortion. So basically, my study is about the geometrical distortion of the DCDB that was created in Uganda. So this is the quality of cadastral maps before computerization. We have maps which are torn, then we have congested maps, we have both insets and missing information. This is a map in water, which has got this blue thing with an arrow is basically an inset, and then it was torn. So those are some of the kind of maps which were computerized through that method that I briefly talked about. And I'm still continuing with the introduction. This is basically the methodology that was used to computerize the cadastral maps of Uganda. We have inspection and sorting, whereby the condition is assessed. Those which are good are scanned straight away, and those which are bad are rehabilitated, then scanned, georeferenced, vectorized, and then up to the level of making a digital cadastral database. But from this methodology, it's very clear that there is no field work conducted. Yet, according to some report that was made by the Ministry of Lands and Urban Development, they recommended resurveying the cadastral maps, especially those on Milo, because of the condition we have seen earlier. Then the problem is their positional distortion, which have been observed between existing coordinates from the digital cadastral database and those obtained through accurate UTM field surveys like RTK. So the goal of this research was basically to quantify the distortion and get the nature of the distortion. And my specific objectives was, one, quantify the magnitude of distortion between the DCDB coordinates and those got from RTK. Then the second one was to measure the distortion in the system. Thirdly, I wanted to investigate the possible causes for the distortion, and then lastly, investigate the possible solutions to the distortion. On my methodology, this is the sampling strategy I carried out. There were 6 districts which were computerized as a pilot project, which is now a pilot project because they were okay. So out of the 6, I chose 3. From there, I chose only the digitized bound blocks, because not all blocks are digitized in these 3 districts. Then from there, I went to villages. Then from villages, I chose some parcels that were guided by the tenure systems, and then information from some GSSs. Then from the parcels, I randomly selected. I was able to pick 500 points, that is inclusive of Milo and release tenure system, because in these 3 districts, Those are the major tenure systems we have. And this 500 points gave me a variability. It is recommended by ARISA Article 2009 that if you choose points more than 250, if you got more than 250 points, you will get good results. And for 500 points particularly, it has a variability or a variation of 1.6%. And this was my methodology. Continuing, I had 4 objectives. This study was both quantitative and qualitative. The quantitative results, I triangulated them using the qualitative methods like informant interviews. Then the workshop was conducted by the Ministry of Lands, which helped me with some information. And then the quantitative, I used the RTK, because RTK was basically to give me the second database, which I was going to use to assess the first database, which I compiled from the DCD coordinates. Then from there, after making that comparison, that is assessing the positional accuracy of the second cadastral of the second database, I was able to assess the magnitude and the nature of the distortion. Then later, these 2 methods gave me the solutions and the causes. So the overall distortion of my study area was 10.377. This was not by considering the 3 districts that I considered in my study. And the biggest distortion I got was in Wakiso of 391.295 meters. These are the distortions in Kampala district. Kampala, I sampled a number of places, and the maximum distortion I got in Kampala was 8.82 meters in Kisasi, and the minimum was 0.28 in Bugoloni. Then we also had the biggest distortion, but this distortion, we'll see later, it is a uniform distortion whereby the plot shifted uniformly by 391.295. And the minimum distortion in Wakiso was Nasana, but this was the least plot. And then Mukono had worse distortions than the rest of the 2, because we had 15 meters, and I considered this as my biggest distortion of the study, because the other one was a uniform distortion which came from some result that we'll see later on. Then Kaluko had the least distortion of 0.4 meters. My second objective was to relate the distortion to the tenure system, and this is a distortion based on the tenure system that is called, and it has a scale of 1 to 4 meters. Then Milo had the biggest distortion of from 0 to 45 meters. And the nature of distortion was mainly random, because from the previous slide you have seen that we do not have a linear spread. Different places have got different distortions. So I am giving an example of Kampala whereby the red things you see are basically depicting the height of the distortion. I depicted the height, I depicted the distortion using the heights. So you see that these heights are not uniform. But then on the right-hand side, I'm showing you a systematic pattern of distortion in cover. That is the one I told you, the 300 meters. So it is one plot, or it is one area of cover that shifts uniformly by that 391 meters. Some of the implications of the distortion, we have got gaps. When some maps are produced, there are existing gaps. Then we have got disputes. Someone was talking about disputes. We have this land, the upper land is from Uyenga. So someone was claiming more land of 0.06 acres. Yet this land was not on his title, and it was not on the initial field print. On the initial cadastral print, but it was on as a result of the computerization. There are both variations in distances. Then the post purposes, I categorized them into 2. those due to data capture, and then those due to data conversion. For data capture, we have got instrumentation errors. Then we have got lack of identifiability. Control network, this was well explained by Mr. Sengelo. Then we have got web quality control check policies at a distance. We have got cartographic errors, non-professionalism, which was talked about by Mr. Edmond, and then non-standardized machine setups. Then for the data conversion, we have the georeferencing errors, and this is the error that led to the 391 meters. Then we have got transformation from rapid service to second class. Because second class, these second class, those are the class service carried out on minor, and then the second class are the UTM service. Then we have got utilization errors like overshots and undershots. Then we have got the inappropriate method for data capture, which I've shown earlier in the computerization of the Cadastral records. Then lastly, we have got scanning errors. So some of the solutions, I divided them into three. That is short-term, mid-term, and long-term. So for the problem of the dense of the geodetic control, currently surveyors are being asked to extend controls by themselves. And then with time, the ministry, I think, has already awarded a project to densify most places, establish geodetic control networks all over the country. In the issue of cartographic errors, these ones can be stopped. Recently during the workshop, they passed that no surveyor, no MZO, that is the Ministry's own office, should produce manual plans so that can try to eliminate the errors. The professionalism, we have got the validation, the registration of all surveyors, including all students. So once all surveyors are registered, then it will be possible to monitor their performance. Then instrumentation errors, we have got calibration of errors, calibration of instruments, and then georeferencing, that can be solved by either georeferencing or densifying the places is to georeference. Then the issue of inappropriate data conversion methodology I showed earlier. The best way is to reproduce a second layer by using the information which is archived in the DRGs and the Department of Surveys and Mapping. Then lastly, also transformation of the rapid surveys. These ones, they can be also overcome by doing the same thing. You either reproduce all by resurveying all the minor land, which is kind of on an extreme side because it's an expensive project. Then in my conclusion, the overall distortion I showed, it was 10.3. This one, of course, had got the distortion in this one was significant compared to that of Milo. However, both of them are significant errors for purposes of mapping and referencing. Then the errors were categorized into data capture and data conversion. Then the solutions are categorized into short, mid, and long term according to what presented. Then in my recommendation, I recommend that a study should be conducted because this was a study of the general distortion. And then I recommend that someone else can carry out a study on the amount of distortion that can be contributed by each of these errors that I have identified in chapter 1. Sorry, my third objective. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sophie. In the interest of time, one question. I'm aware that must just work. If I ask more than one, I think. Most of the concerns here are commented, and I will start with objective number 4. I'm not compatible with the word investigating solutions. Maybe we should look at that. I have problems with almost all the recommendations in about 2-3-4 tables, but I'll just give you an example. I think it was section 7, where you say, about digitizing errors that you need to use experienced surveyors and geometricians, which should be okay. The question is that what you found out? Was that a problem? That was not elaborated in your discussion. The other one, which was actually the first one, is about scanning and then georeferencing digitizing. I never asked you this question to come. how was this process carried out? If you don't understand how it was carried out, it makes no sense to say we need more coordinates. Because probably that was not a problem, unless it came out that probably they were using a few coordinates, or probably the method they were using was erroneous, then we need to bring that forward. I'm not also sure about assuming that the coordinates from DCDB, I think, too, were error-free. That could have been an assumption. My question is, what's the error of assuming that they were error-free? Michael had different errors, distribution errors, 0 to 44. How do you explain an error of 0? Maybe I was told that there are actually so many, but I will promise you.
Maybe you can discuss later at lunch. Just give one or two comment and then we can do the last.
Everything that I've presented in this study, especially for objective 1, objective 3 and objective 4, came from purely my interviews and workshops. So there is nothing like my homework. So everything in my write-up, I have backed it with the interviews. Then for the error of the DCDB2, this was my assessment method data. So I tried to pick the coordinates as accurate as possible because I was using an arithmetic and I conducted these surveys. That's all.